Hey everybody, welcome back. If you are interested in seeing how much makeup a small makeup YouTuber has in their collection, keep on watching the video. So I like to do this at the beginning of the year, halfway through the year, and at the end of the year where I go through all of my makeup categories, count them, and kind of assess where we're sitting for that given time. I am, of course, a small YouTube channel, so I have more makeup than the average consumer, I think, or typical. But I do project pan, so I like to try and keep my numbers at a manageable number. So we're gonna get into the categories now and see how I'm doing. First category I wanna get into is primers. Primers, of course, are the first step in most makeup routines. They can either grip your foundation, they can give you a glowy base, they can mattify, they do all sorts of fun things. And I have a collection right now. At the beginning of the year I had 7 and currently I have 8, which it would be a lot lower than that because I've actually managed to work through a ton of primers in my project pans this year, but I did get sent some from Smashbox in PR, which is where the majority of that number is coming from. But those are such nice primers. I'm actually wearing one of the primers today. I'm wearing the green correcting one, and I've been using it a lot lately and I really enjoy it. So I know I'll get through those primers eventually, but yeah, my number is a little higher than what I would typically like it to be. I feel most comfortable with like 5 primers in my collection, but 8 also isn't the worst. It is what it is. I'm sure I can get through a couple of these in the next few months, so I'm not too worried. Foundations is typically the next step in your makeup routine, and also the next one we're gonna get into. At the beginning of the year, I had 6 foundations, and right now I'm sitting at 8. So this isn't a category that grew because of PR. I did get one of those foundations in PR, but I've actually purchased a couple this year. You've probably seen the videos about them. If you haven't, I will link them down below. I bought the Lawless foundation, and then I also bought a Revlon foundation. I haven't tried it on my channel at all because I wasn't really sure if people were interested in foundation reviews as much as they used to be, but I have been using it in my own time and I kind of like it. It's a bit more than what I've been looking for lately. I've been gravitating more towards BB creams, but I've still been enjoying it. But yeah, those were 2 purchases that I brought in, which did inflate that number. I also got that Merit like stick foundation in PR, so that's where another one came from. Otherwise, I was doing pretty good with finishing up foundations. Next up is concealers, and this was actually something in the beginning of the year I said I wasn't going to talk about anymore, but a lot of you guys said y'all were still interested in the categories that don't really change for me as much, so I decided to just include it anyways. I included all the things that I said I wouldn't at the beginning of the year, so if you have watched that video recently, yeah, I'm going back on my word really quick. But in concealers, at the beginning of the year I had 2, and right now I have 3, or 2.5. One of them is like a sample size. It's the Kosas sample size concealer. I have a Flower Beauty one, and I'm also currently working on the Wet n Wild Incognito concealer in one of my project pans. That one will hopefully be gone in a couple months maybe. It's really hard to tell with that one because I can't see any windows in the packaging or anything, so I don't know how much is left in there. But that's how many I have currently. I like all of the concealers I have right now. But it's actually been a step I haven't been using quite as much. I don't have dark circles too badly for myself. I've been getting better sleep lately, so I'm not going through concealers as quick as I was at the beginning of the year. Things have kind of mellowed out for me as far as sleep is concerned. I also don't really foresee me feeling the need to purchase anymore. I was really curious at the beginning of the year, and the curiosity has died a little bit for some reason. I'm just not that interested lately in new releases. It's just not been at the forefront, so I don't really foresee this number changing, like growing at the end of the year. I see it definitely diminishing. Next up is mascara, and this one I also said I was going to take out because it never changes, and it didn't. I had 2 at the beginning of the year. I have 2 right now. I currently have the Essence Lash Princess and a Elizabeth Arden mascara. You've seen both of them in videos if you've been watching them. I've mentioned them many times. Those are the 2 I have. Those are going to be the 2 I have until they run out, and then I'll replace them. This category actually kind of changed, my bronzers category. So at the beginning of the year I had 4, and I still have those same 4, but I also got a new one. I got a Merit cream blush, or cream bronzer, and it's actually the bronzer I'm wearing today. It is so pretty. I love cream bronzers. You guys know last year is when I discovered cream bronzers. I was obsessed with this one last year. This is the Half Candy Paint bronzer in the color Morning View, which I did end up hitting pan on because I was so obsessed with it. This Merit one that you guys see in the picture is also so good. They sent this one to me in PR, so this wasn't a purchase I made, they sent it to me, and I have been using it so much. I like to put that down first on top of like still damp or not set foundation, and then I go over it with my Physicians Formula bronzer, and it just gives me such a good like sun-kissed glow, and it stays all day. I don't worry about it fading. That is such a good combo. I'm definitely really enjoying that one, so that was a good addition to my collection. I could potentially see myself decluttering the bronzers at the end of the year, or at least finishing some. The Physicians Formula one is definitely one I think I might be able to finish by the end of the year, but I could also see myself decluttering a couple or just one. The Makeup Revolution, the mega bronzer I have in that photo, I could see me decluttering. I haven't been reaching for it. It's not exactly the right tone for me, even though it says it's cool. It still leans a lot warmer than my other bronzers, so I don't find that I like to use it quite as much, but we'll see. I may, you know, change my mind come the annual declutter, which I might be doing a declutter this year. I usually do it at the end of the year, but my husband is in the military and we are due to move at some point. Our moving time has changed because of other things going on, so we might be moving a little bit before the end of the year, so I'll probably do a declutter before our move. That way I don't have to bring a bunch of stuff with us that I don't even need or want. So that's exciting. It'll still be probably my annual declutter, but it'll just be earlier in the year than it typically is. Moving into highlights, this one's really quick. At the beginning of the year I had two, and I still have the exact same two. I have no need to buy highlights, but these two that I have I really enjoy. I have the Anastasia Amrezy highlight, which is this beautiful light gold. It's perfect for when I want to highlight. It's the only one I really would use. And then the other one is the Artist Couture like loose highlight, which is also a gold. I like to mix that into my lotion during the summer, so both of those get used. Neither one of them need to get decluttered, but I also have no need to buy highlight. I don't wear highlight on my face for my daily wear. I have no highlight on today. It's not a step I do anymore. Moving into lipstick. This is an embarrassing category because it exploded. At the beginning of the year, I had 13 lipsticks, and right now I have 23. This is a very big growth for my collection in just 6 months, and the main thing that was the culprit for this was I got a bunch of PR from Lawless. If you guys have seen my Lawless PR unboxings or any of my PR unboxings, Lawless has sent me like 2 pretty substantial PR packages. One was huge and it had a bunch of their like lipsticks. These are more like lip balm, lip plumpers, but I put them in the lipstick category. I'm wearing this one right here. This is Georgie, and I am obsessed with it. I've actually used a ton of it, if you guys can see from that distance. I've used a ton of this already. There's not that much left. This is almost a daily kind of wear for me. It's so pretty. But I do have a bunch of these right now, which really exploded my number. And I did buy a couple lipsticks as well, I think, this year. Maybe 1 or 2, but it's mainly these guys. I got a ton of these in PR, and I, you know, swatched them and tried them out, and I do love them. So I don't think they'll be hard to get through. Seeing how much I've used of this one already, I don't think it'll be too difficult. The formula is so nice. I will link those down below for you if you guys are curious to see how many colors they have and all of that, because this formula is one of my favorites. It's so comfy. Not sponsored. I actually ended up really enjoying those. For my liquid lips, same thing kind of happened. I had 3 at the beginning of the year, and right now I have 5 because Alter Ego sent me a PR package and they sent a bunch of liquid lipsticks. I only ended up keeping 2 because I just don't wear them very often. They're both pretty natural tones, but that's why that number went up. And then the next one is my lip gloss, and I went back and watched my old video, and I don't know if I just zoned out, but I didn't hear what my number of lip gloss was at the beginning of the year, but right now I have 9, and I'm pretty positive that grew a little bit because I got gifted a couple lip glosses. So I probably had like 5 at the beginning of the year, and right now I have 9. All of my lip categories grew a ton because of things that I was getting. So I'm not like overspending, luckily, but I am still having a lot of stuff come into my collection that I probably need to keep eyes on. For brows, this number has actually gone down. I don't tend to keep a lot of brow products at any given time. So at the beginning of the year, I had 2 that actually went up a little bit. I had like 5 or 6 brow products like a month or 2 ago, but I just finished 2 brow pencils. So right now I have 3 brow products, 2 of which are gel, like setting brow things, like the Wild Brow from e.l.f. I have, and then I have 1 pencil. So I don't have that many brow products right now, and I like that number. I think I'll kind of keep it there. 3 or 4 items I think is really good for brows, regardless of being a YouTuber or not. I'm gonna go ahead and move into my eyeshadows, and I'm gonna go through these. I'm gonna go through this quickly. If you guys want me to do an in-depth video on my eyeshadow palettes, please let me know, because I think it'll probably be more interesting as a separate video, and also it would just be too hard for me to film that right now. So let me know in the comments if you would like to see an in-depth me going through every single eyeshadow palette I own, just to show you guys, because I will do it. I think I said I would do this last year and never got around to it, so let me know and just yell at me in the comments to do it. But at the beginning of the year, I had 25 eyeshadow palettes, and I said that was the perfect number for me, and I agreed that's the perfect number. I really didn't want to grow my eyeshadow palettes at all, but you know, I got PR. I haven't bought any eyeshadow palettes, but I've gotten a good bit of PR this year, and now I have 30 eyeshadow palettes. I actually think I have more. I think I missed a couple that I have in different spots right now because I was filming something. I have over 30 eyeshadow palettes again. I don't feel great about it, but if you guys want to see them, let me know. My single eyeshadows haven't changed at all. I had 40 at the beginning of the year. I have 40 now, so I'm just gonna move on. For my powders, I don't know why I started skipping steps. I was trying to go in order, but apparently I'm not going in order. For face powders, at the beginning of the year I had 5, 3 of which were loose powders, and then I had 2 pressed powders. Right now I only have 3, and there are 2 loose powders and 1 setting powder. I finished a ton of powders this year. So I have the Rare Beauty and the Perfect Diary loose powder, and then I have a Pat McGrath under eye setting powder, which isn't really a full face setting powder. I bought this at the beginning of the year during the Sephora sale, and honestly I forgot about it until this video because I don't do my makeup in this room anymore, and I haven't put it in my makeup bag in a while because I've been so hyper focused on trying to make sure I'm doing well on my project pan. So I probably need to throw this guy in my makeup bag and use it. I remember liking it okay. It's just an under eye setting powder and it blurs it out a little bit, but again, I kind of do really simple, easy, minimal makeup lately, so it's just not been a step I've been thinking about either. It is a good powder though. Speaking of things that set your face, my setting sprays, I had 0 at the beginning of the year, and now I have 1. It's the e.l.f. setting spray. I've had it all year. I use it on occasion. Again, it's not something I use every day. I used to use setting spray like every day, but I haven't really found that I need it as much lately. I think it's because I live in such a humid climate right now that I would use setting spray before when I lived in California, especially because the powder made my face look dry, and so I'd use the setting spray to kind of like make me look glowy again. Here, I can put my makeup on, even if I use a ton of powder, just go outside for like 2 minutes and I'm good. So I don't really need setting sprays for my daily makeup. I have used it here, living here, if I'm like going out or I want my makeup to look good for a longer time. But other than that, I don't really bother with it. So my setting sprays are gonna last me for a really long time. Next up, this is a category I didn't include in my beginning of the year inventory either, and it was my eyeliners because I didn't think it was that interesting. But a ton of you guys said you would like to hear these numbers, so I've included them in this one. Again, I'm not sure where it was at the beginning of the year, but it was probably this because I don't believe I've bought any eyeliners or have gotten any NPR. So right now I have 8 eyeliners. We will see at the end of the year where we're at with that. But yeah, I don't think that's a bad number. I mean, these are colored eyeliners. These are also like, I included like these 2, the Milk Jumbo pens and this shadow stick. I included the shadow sticks in my eyeliner because I don't use them as like eyeshadows per se. I usually use them as a base, or like I use it to smudge out something. So I included them in eyeliner, so those 2 are also in there. And then the last category is definitely the most out of control and embarrassing one for me, and it's my blush. Now my blush is my favorite category, which is why we're gonna end on it, because I love talking about blush. And I like having a lot of options for blush, especially cream blushes here lately. I just love them. So at the beginning of the year, I had 16 blushes, and right now I have 20. So that number did grow. Again, it came from PR. I got a Lawless blush recently, which is this one. Again, you would have seen it if you saw that PR video. This is from their new Watermelon collection, which is out for the summer. It's their summer line. This is the new blush they sent me. It is so pretty. I need to wear this as well. I've worn it once or twice since getting it, but this was a big reason why my number went up, because obviously it's a new blush. And then I also got 3 Merit cream blushes, and I love them. You guys will be seeing the swatches of them right now. I adore all of the Merit blushes. I threw one in a project pan, so I'm hoping to get that one out by the end of the year. But they're such a good sheer buildable formula. If you're new to cream blush, I've recommended them a bunch to like people who don't have much experience with cream blushes, because they're very forgiving and very easy to use. I've never had any issue with them moving my foundation or anything. They're stunning. I love them. Again, I think blush changes the entire appearance of your face and can give you a different vibe depending on what color you use, or if you really like monochromatic looks. You can do so much with blush, and it's definitely my favorite step besides probably lips. I've been really enjoying lipsticks, especially these Lawless ones all over again. It's been a good time for me to discover like more minimal types of makeup at this, you know, chapter in my life, and those Merit blushes are definitely up there. They even look pretty with no foundation on. If you just like need to put a little something on to look awake, they're also good for that. I just love them. I can't speak highly enough of those, but they did raise my number. I now have 4 more than I did at the beginning of the year. I'm not mad about this amount of blush, if I'm being honest. I can get through a couple blushes this year. I have a Franken blush, which is almost done. And I also have, you know, cream blushes in my project pans. So I'm doing okay. I'm not worried about it, but it is a little embarrassing that I have 20 blushes. It seems a little excessive, but I love that step, so I'm not gonna be too upset about it. So that, guys, is the entire video of, you know, how much makeup does a small YouTuber own? That's where we're at. I have a lot. It's too much. But again, let me know down in the comments if you would like to see an in-depth look at my eyeshadow collection. I believe I have over 30. I think I've missed a couple because not everything is in one spot. But let me know down in the comments if you would like to see that. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and enjoy this kind of content, definitely hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!
Alright, ooh baby, just hold tight. We're up at the moonlight, believe in the magic. On side, we'll make it feel just right. Just look at that bright light, believe in the magic.